DJNTV. It's the Perfect Host Show. I'm Jim Cerone. In this episode, I make some demands. What does a 3-song set say about you in the music room? And a moron marketing tip? Those are all next. The Perfect Host Show on DJNTV. I'm Jim Cerone. Have you gotten that question from your colleagues? So, how many weddings do you have booked for this year? What they're really asking is, how's your demand? So I'm going to demand that you pay attention because we're going to talk about how much demand there is for your service. How do you figure that out? How much demand do you want? How much demand do you need? And how do you increase demand for your service? To give you an example of demand, here's a story about the group The Eagles, one of the best bands of all time in my opinion. They were also one of the first bands to cross the $100 mark for concert tickets. How in the world could any band charge more than $100 to see them in concert? Well, the Eagles had taken a 14-year vacation when they finally got back together in 1994. They decided that they would tour again. And the question came up, how much do we charge? The Eagles were nothing if not very savvy business people. They knew there were a lot of people desperate to see them. So, along with their manager Irving Azoff, they said, let's try for over $100. That was unheard of in the music business at that time for a concert ticket. But you know what? Not only did people pay it, but they had to add on to the tour and do more dates because so many people wanted to pay them more than $100. Even if you don't have a marketing department or a management team like the Eagles, you can figure out how much demand there is for the service you supply. Did you know that it's available at your county office? How many marriage licenses were issued last year? If weddings are your main focus, wouldn't it be good to know how many total weddings there were in your area? If mitzvahs represent a big percentage of your business, how large is the Jewish population in your area? That's a figure you can find out. How much corporate business is actually done in your area? How many conferences or conventions are held there each year? These are all figures you can find out just by looking at your local Chamber of Commerce or calling your local county. Knowing those numbers really helps you get a big picture of how many events there are available that need a DJ in your area every year. Once you've done some research on the big picture for your DJ services, now you need to study your DJ company specifically. How many inquiries did you get last year? How many inquiries did you book last year? And how many inquiries did you turn away? This gives you a really good indicator of how much demand there is for your service. Now it's good to drill down and see where those inquiries came from. Where is the demand for your DJ services coming from? Is that coming from direct referrals, word of mouth, or venues? Another thing to look at is your marketing. You should be asking, how did you hear about me? That way you can track where the inquiries came from and break it down. Some of those inquiries that ended up not booking and just wasting your time may be coming from the wrong pond. Have you heard this phrase? You're fishing in the wrong pond. If you're getting inquiries that are not qualified to book you, then you should stop fishing in that pond and move to a different, better one. Now that you know the potential demand for your service, you know how many events there are every year in your area, and you've studied your inquiries, how much demand there is for your specific DJ service, now it's time to think about the supply side. I hate to give Randy Bartlett too much credit, but he once said, there are more people wanting a great DJ every weekend than there are great DJs. So even though there is a general supply of DJs who might be average or pretty good, if you're a great DJ, then your service is more in demand. What can you do to make your DJ service extraordinary? If you don't think of yourself as a great DJ, why not? Have you videotaped yourself and evaluated your performance, or had a friend shadow or come along and give you some honest feedback? Maybe you could step up your game by investing in a workshop like Mark and Rebecca Farrell's Marbecca workshops, or going to a conference like Mobile Beat, Midwest DJs Live, or the ARM DJs conferences that are going around the country. Now is a good time of year to evaluate the demand for your DJ service. If it's not high, what can you do to increase demand? If you've turned away a lot of people because you're already booked, your demand is really high, maybe it's time to give yourself a raise. Next in the music room, what your 3-song set says about you.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
You're watching The Perfect Host Show on DJNTV. I'm Jim Cerone. I'm laughing because right over your shoulder there's a lady outside smoking. That's not a big deal. It's okay to go out and have a butt, except it is -5 degrees today in Indianapolis. I guess she really likes to smoke. So in the music room this week, I want to ask you about what a 3-song set says about you and why should you care? When I was in radio as a music director, I was taught that anytime a listener tunes in, they should hear a good representation of the station, of our brand. They should be able to understand what our format is by listening to any 3 songs. If you're a top 40 station, then any 3 songs should represent the different genres and formats that you play. If you're a classic rock station, any 3-song set should say classic rock to anyone who's listening. If you're a country station, obviously 3 songs in a row should tell you if you're a modern country station or a classic country station. It shouldn't lean one way or another. Here's what made me think of this and want to mention it to you. The other day I was listening to WLS out of Chicago. They're a classic hit station. You can listen online with their app anytime. Here's the song set I heard. I Want a New Drug, Huey Lewis, My Life, Billy Joel, and Hot Blooded by Foreigner. It kept going. Then they played Pour Some Sugar on Me, Def Leppard, Let's Dance, David Bowie, Lowrider by War, and More Than a Feeling by Boston. You might think to yourself, that sounds like a pretty good set list. It's a lot of really solid hits. That's true, but that's not their market. That's not what they're branding. They're trying to pitch themselves as a classic hit station to both men and women. But that set really doesn't adequately represent the station. So how does any 3-song set represent your brand on the dance floor? I'm a big fan of really mixing up your music to appeal to all generations and all demographics on the dance floor. We also have to keep in mind how impatient our dancers are and how short their attention spans are. If you're playing 3 new songs, then the older folks may decide it's time to say goodnight. If you're playing 3 old songs in a row, then the younger folks may decide this party's not going to be any fun. Just keep that in mind as you're doing your playlists and making your sets. What do any 3 songs say about you to the audience? Your moron marketing tip is next. The Perfect Host Show on DJNTV. The Perfect Host Show, DJNTV. I'm Jim Cerone. Time for your moron marketing tip. Have you changed the copyright line on your website? It should say 2019. Good luck finding that setting. Enough time always passes each year that I have to go searching. I'll go do that now, and I'll see you next week for another Perfect Host episode on DJNTV.